So Usman Nurmagomedov has just beaten Paul Hughes by unanimous decision in their rematch. Yo, the PFL might be the most corrupt organisation of all time. Yo, how do you have a judge scored 50-45? Whoever that guy is, never let him judge a fight ever again. Ever again. That is one of the worst scorecards I have ever seen in my entire life. This fight was razor close, 3-2 either way. Personally, bias aside, I thought Usman Nurmagomedov did do enough to win the fight. But 50-45 is the most smooth brain. Yo, did this guy go take a shit for all 5 rounds and come back? Because how do you do that? Another thing, the referee, Keith Peterson, does he only understand Braille? Because what the fuck is he doing in that cage? What's he watching? Because Usman Nurmagomedov hits Paul Hughes with 3 low blows and a headbutt. Now, regardless if the headbutt was hard or what, that is an illegal move after the bell. He headbutts him, and Keith Peterson is standing in the middle of them when he does it, and he goes to Paul Hughes, I didn't touch you. Yo, put your fucking glasses on. Are you blind? What are you on about? He didn't touch. And then they don't even take a point. They don't take a point off Usman Nurmagomedov. Yo, 3 low blows and a headbutt, and not 1 point's taken off. And for the third one, when Paul Hughes goes down and lies down, look, that's a bad look for Paul Hughes in my opinion, but getting kicked in the balls doesn't feel nice. But anyway, Paul Hughes is lying there down. Keith Peterson comes over to the corner. Paul Hughes' corner is saying to him, and they're going, I watched it on the camera. It was an accident. Yo, how many accidents does he get? Everything Dominic Cruz said about this guy, he obviously had 6 litres of vodka before getting into that cage. That's the only logical explanation for that referee, and never let that guy ref a fight again. I'm so glad that he's in Dubai and won't be reffing any of the UFC tomorrow. Now, look, Paul Hughes, that's an unfortunate loss for him. Again, the fight was really close. Usman Nurmagomedov was maybe the more busier guy with like wee flicky kicks. The more damaging hard shots were being landed from Paul Hughes, in my opinion. Paul Hughes showed again really good takedown defense in there. A thing that kind of helped Usman Nurmagomedov pick up some rounds, because they were so close, were the takedowns, especially in round 1, where he got very dominant position on Paul Hughes' back. Again, Paul Hughes was able to shrug him off, get back up to the feet, and that's kind of where Paul Hughes had a good bit of success, where Usman would shift for the takedown, get him down, Paul Hughes would get back up, they'd be in close quarters, and then Paul Hughes would let that dirty boxing go, and he would land and have success on Usman Nurmagomedov. Look, Paul Hughes hits hard. Usman Nurmagomedov took a lot of shots in there, big right hands from Paul Hughes, and kept coming forward. But yeah, that was a kind of a key thing that Usman had, was securing the takedowns. And when he would get the takedowns, it wasn't like he would end up in Paul Hughes' full guard. He would shift the takedown, shoot back out again, and get round to the back, and then he'd be able to take Paul Hughes down. Again, didn't really do anything with the takedowns. However, if you are in close rounds and you're securing a takedown at the end, that does count for something. But 50-45, yo, this is why the PFL has basically 0 viewership. This is the first and last time I will ever watch the PFL. This is why Ngannou and Jake Paul took all your money and never fight on any of your events. They're rigged, they're shit. Like, what was that? Like, I honestly don't understand that. And before this fight, I was sitting there thinking, you know what? Maybe this is the key for the PFL. Have your events on Friday nights. Don't compete with the UFC. Yo, how about don't compete at all? Let's just shut up shop. 50-45 is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. I do see a lot of people online saying Paul Hughes was robbed. Look, again, I'm from the same place as Paul Hughes, and I'm still not going to be biased towards it. I thought Usman did take it, personally. Look, at points, I thought Paul Hughes could have maybe been a bit more aggressive, maybe threw more, but again, that's easier said than done. That's easy for me, sitting up on my sofa back home, watching the fight. Paul Hughes, Usman Nurmagomedov, both guys are elite level. Both guys are definitely UFC level. Both guys have to get out of the PFL immediately. Immediately get out of the PFL and get over to the UFC, and we'll see them in there. Look, I think we're probably going to see these guys fight again. I would love to see a third fight. I know Usman's 2-0 up on him, but both fights really, really close. let's take it out of Dubai though. Like, let's go somewhere neutral. Let's go America. Why the fuck are we doing an event in, like, well, I understand why they're doing it in Dubai. That's a stupid thing for me to say, but like, take it somewhere neutral. And the thing is as well, this harms Usman Nurmagomedov because he rightfully won that fight, in my opinion. Close fight, but he won it. But to have the scorecards that wide, it instantly makes people go, well, Paul Hughes was robbed. Usman Nurmagomedov robbed him. Usman robbed him. And then it has a bad effect on Usman when it's not really Usman's fault at all. It's the people who are scoring the fight. It was just fucking ridiculous, yeah. But good fight overall. Not going to win fight of the year, let's be honest, but a very good high-level mixed martial arts matchup. What's next for Paul Hughes? Get the fuck out of the PFL, please. Usman Nurmagomedov, get the fuck out of the PFL, please. But let me know what you thought of the fight in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. That's my cope session done for the night, and I'll see you all again in the next one. UFC 320 tomorrow, though. We need Yuri to do the business.